Welcome to this explainer. What if I told you that some of the absolute greatest minds in modern science, we're talking people like J. Robert Oppenheimer and the founding fathers of quantum mechanics, were deeply obsessed with a 2,000-year-old text? Today, we're going to bridge a truly incredible gap. We're juxtaposing the ancient imagery of chariots set on a legendary battlefield with the strict, sterile whiteboards of a modern theoretical physics lab. We are uncovering the physics of the Bhagavad Gita.
Spooky action at a distance. That's Albert Einstein. And let's just think about that for a second, because it's genuinely fascinating that the pioneers of quantum mechanics were grappling with the exact same concepts we are about to explore today. When Einstein talked about spooky action, he was trying to wrap his head around an interconnected universe that completely defied classical physics. And as you'll see, ancient sages were describing these exact same universal laws. They were just using a completely different vocabulary.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover 1. Ancient wisdom, modern science. 2. The physics of existence. 3. 4 types of seekers. 4. Entropy and human desire. 5. The wise seeker's equilibrium. And finally, 6. Quantum unity and you.
Section 1. Ancient wisdom, modern science, bridging millennia.
So, we're starting with Chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita, which is known as Jnana Vijnana Yoga. This chapter fundamentally bridges the gap between theoretical knowledge and lived practical experience. And the crucial difference here is jnana versus vijnana. Jnana is intellectual knowledge. Think of it like reading a really complex scientific paper on the physiological benefits of stress reduction. You get it in your head, right? But vijnana is the experiential realization. It is the actual physical, lived feeling of possessing a calm, perfectly balanced mind right in the middle of a totally chaotic workday. This entire chapter is about moving from the theory into that actual experience.
Now, at this point in the overall structure of the text, there's a massive shift. We move from focusing purely on the individual self, the jiva, into the practical philosophy of Isvara, which represents the supreme, universal connecting force of all existence. Basically, we are zooming way out to look at the macro-level rules of the universe.
Section 2. The physics of existence, the 8 elements.
Before we can truly understand human behavior and why we do the things we do, we kind of have to look at the universe's building blocks. Chapter 7 categorizes the material nature of the universe into 8 distinct elements, and they cover the entire spectrum of existence. You have the deeply physical stuff, like Earth as potential energy, water as kinetic energy, and fire representing thermal energy, all the way up to the incredibly subtle. Because yes, the Gita actually classifies the human mind, our intellect, and our ego as material elements. They're literally viewed as forms of energy that interact with the physical world around us.
And this is where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. It brilliantly illustrates how ancient texts essentially predicted modern astrophysics. Look at the element Kam, which translates to space or ether. The text describes it as an invisible, all-pervading element that provides accommodating space for existence but cannot be directly seen. I mean, that perfectly mirrors the elusive phenomenon we now call dark matter. Scientists know it makes up most of the universe, but it completely escapes direct detection.
Section 3. 4 types of seekers. Human archetypes.
Okay, so with the physics laid out, let's zoom back into human consciousness to explore the real core of today's explainer, the 4 distinct types of people who seek higher meaning or seek a connection to the divine. We can actually map the ancient seeker archetypes directly to modern identities and their corresponding thermodynamic states. We have Artha, the distressed seeker, Artharthi, the ambitious seeker of wealth, Jignasu, the curious seeker of knowledge, and Jnani, the wise seeker. Let's look at their motivations through the lens of physics to understand them on a deeply scientific level.
Section 4. Entropy and human desire, the chaos of the mind. To understand why these first 2 types of seekers are even seeking in the first place, we have to apply the second law of thermodynamics, entropy. In physics, entropy is the universal tendency of any closed system to move toward disorder, chaos, and a loss of usable energy. Well, guess what? Our minds operate by the exact same rule. Take the first seeker, Arto, the distressed one. Think of a stressed modern professional facing massive deadlines, health issues, or a major personal crisis. They are operating in a state of extremely high mental entropy. Their internal system is chaotic, burning immense amounts of mental energy just to literally survive the day. They seek a higher power simply to find a lifeline out of this internal thermodynamic chaos.
Then we have Artharthi, the ambitious seeker of wealth and success. Think of your classic hyper-driven modern entrepreneur. While they might not be in an active crisis, they are absolutely still trapped in high entropy. Why? Because their deep attachment to the outcomes of their actions, success, wealth, social status, creates constant emotional turbulence. The fear of failure and that endless craving for more keeps their mental system in a state of high disorder and incredibly high friction.
Section 5. The Wise Seeker's Equilibrium. Detached Action.
And that brings us to the ultimate archetype, the Jnani or the wise seeker, who operates in a completely different energetic state. Now the third seeker, Jijnasu, the curious student, is on their way here, studying the laws of nature to reduce their chaos, but the Jnani has actually arrived through true renunciation. In the modern world, renunciation isn't about hiding in a cave or giving up all your worldly possessions. It's like hitting send on a massive, critical work project and then completely letting go of the outcome. You did your absolute best, you fulfilled your duty, but you are not emotionally chained to whether people praise it or reject it. You maintain total emotional stability.
In the physics world, we call this thermodynamic equilibrium. It's a highly efficient, perfectly balanced energy system where there is no net flow of energy or matter and zero internal turbulence. The wise seeker's mind remains completely undisturbed by the absolute chaos of the external world. Because they aren't bleeding energy through anxiety or attachment, they can direct all of their focus into their actions. They've essentially become a perfectly insulated, highly efficient engine.
Section 6. Quantum Unity and You, the Grand Connection.
So we've moved from the macro forces of the universe down to the micro forces of human psychology. Now let's finally merge them together by looking at the indestructible nature of life itself, according to Chapter 7. Perfectly mirroring the first law of thermodynamics, the Gita states that the essence of life is never destroyed. Just like energy cannot be created or destroyed but simply transforms from potential to kinetic to thermal, human consciousness shifts seamlessly from one state to another. We are all part of a continuous, ongoing energy transformation cycle.
The text offers this incredibly profound observation. Like beads pervaded by a string, all this is in me. This ancient verse perfectly describes the mind-bending phenomenon of quantum entanglement. It recognizes that beneath the illusion of separate physical objects, there is a fundamental universal connection. We are all entangled in the exact same energetic web. This text recognized universal unity thousands of years before humanity even had the mathematics to prove it. No wonder the founders of quantum physics were reading this stuff.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to look inward. Think about the energy system of your own mind. Reflect on your own mental entropy and ask yourself honestly, which of these 4 archetypes truly represents your current path? Are you the stressed professional seeking relief? The ambitious entrepreneur deeply attached to outcomes? The curious student? Or are you actively moving towards the perfectly balanced equilibrium of the wise seeker? Because once you understand the physics of your own mind, you hold the power to completely transform your reality.